You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dini Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
At dollarseed.com, all of our seeds are only $1 a pack. And we have online resources that teach you all about the rewarding hobby of growing your own plants, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Imagine the joy you'll feel when your children actually help you harvest your first garden crop, or the pride of knowing you'll never need a florist again. Visit dollarseed.com and grow a little magic of your own for just $1. Dollarseed.com. What could be healthier?
Hey, welcome to another incredible episode of Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio, and I'm your host, Dini. We have another special guest for you guys, so you definitely want to stick around for that. And as a matter of fact, go ahead and text your buddies or your family members right now and let them know that we are about to dive deep into another interview. Before we bring our guest on, I do want to ask the question, is it really all that difficult to let go of your resentment, to calm your anger, to move beyond your disappointment? It's only as difficult as you think it is. Is it really so difficult to focus your thoughts and to act with discipline? It's only as difficult as you think it is. Is it really so difficult to persist even when the obstacles are powerful and the going is rough? Is it really so difficult to bring yourself to get back up when you've been knocked down? The attitudes and efforts which lead to success and accomplishments are difficult only when you decide to make them so. Consider what will happen if you were to think of them as natural, desirable, and easily within your reach. Rather than fighting against a positive, productive life by imagining it to be difficult, move into that life by imagining it to be completely right for you. Success is not as difficult as you might imagine. It is yours to achieve as soon as you go ahead and accept that you can. And you will. Take that from me, Coach Dini. That is my word, and word is bond.
Have you struggled budgeting your finances? Don't worry, you're not alone. HumbledBudget.com, that's HumbledBudget.com, is the help and resource you've been searching for. HumbledBudget.com is a personal finance and educational website with a great variety of topics when it comes to budgeting, taxes, investing, and the popular topic of FIRE, financial independence, retire early. HumbledBudget.com has a goal, and that's to help you reach your financial dreams, no matter what your goals are when it comes to finances. It doesn't matter where you start, where you come from, or where you are right now. HumbledBudget.com can help. What are you waiting for? Take that first step to the financial life you've dreamed of and go to HumbledBudget.com. That's HumbledBudget. HumbledBudget.com.
Hey, again, what is up, guys? Welcome to the show. You are listening to VRL, that's Vigilantes Radio Live, right here on iHeartRadio, and I am your host, Dini. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these awesome human beings, the ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Rafiq Nabali, a young African-American filmmaker who has recently embarked on a journey to uncover the truth behind the biggest critiques of the Black church. In this project, Let the Church Say, he explores the connection between the church, politics, race, and the fight for justice. All right. Let's go ahead and welcome him to our show. Welcome to our show, man. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Welcome. Well, before we really get started, man, I had a question from the crowd, and it's about the common myth about black churches. So before you answer, I'll give my answer. The question is, what's a common myth about black churches? Well, from Dini perspective, one common myth about black churches is that they are predominantly focused on emotionalism, and that, you know, the worship services sometimes can be loud and boisterous, but you got to understand that, you know, some people are singing for a reason. You know, it deserves to be loud and boisterous. But, you know, while emotional expression is certainly a part of many of our black churches, there is also a strong emphasis on theology, education, and community service. And additionally, not all black churches have the same style of worship, and there is a wide range of denominations and traditions within the black church. I'm actually the son of a evangelist, so I've kind of been in church my whole life, and yeah, they're all different. What about you, man? What is a common myth about black churches?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said. And one of the things that came to my mind was this idea that the black church is like a monolith, that all black churches are the same, and that it's just this one large entity that kind of operates in the same way no matter where you go. And I think through my experience and my journey, I've just kind of learned how complex churches can be based on the leadership, based on the congregants, and you know, even the resources that they have. So I think it's really hard to kind of judge an entire faith by some of the followers that you come in contact with, or even one church that you might have had an experience with.
Absolutely. And they all don't last 3 or 4 hours long. That's just for the comedy show. Yeah. All right, man. Can you share more about your personal journey with faith and how it influenced your work as a filmmaker?
Yeah, man. I grew up in a really religious family. My grandmother is the, you know, traditional praying grandmother, and, you know, I just remember at night times walking past her bedroom and seeing her just kind of huddled over the bed and just, you know, crying out to God and, you know, praying for what seemed like hours. So seeing that as a young child, you know, not always understanding what was going on, but just understood that there was some, you know, real connection and real relationship that was going on between her and God, was a real inspiration for me. And from there is kind of where I draw all my creativity. You know, every project that I work on, you know, I give it to God and just kind of move forward from there. So, yeah, it's really deeply rooted for me.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yo, I have to say, you are very brave. So maybe you can answer this question. How do you approach the challenge of presenting like complex and sensitive topics like race and religion in a way that is respectful and authentic, yet still engaging and thought-provoking for audiences?
Yeah, it's definitely a difficult line to walk, especially when you're talking about something like religion. It is very personal to individuals, and you know, just to let individuals know, one of the main questions that we aim to answer from this film, Let the Church Say, is the question, is the black church dead? So a lot of people hear that, and the first thing, they're like really, you know, taken back by that, and some people might even get upset. But I try to bid people to look at it from a different perspective and understand that when I'm asking this question, one, it's not a question that, you know, is originally from me. If you know, Google it, this is a conversation that scholars and individuals have been having for years. But two, it's a question that I'm presenting to an open audience so that we can fully understand where we are, where we've been, and where we're going to be for the future. And we can work to build the black church to be even more relevant and more impactful in the future. So I think when you're dealing with topics like this, I think, one, it's good to come from a place of knowledge. You know, I grew up spending a lot of time in church. I'm not an outsider that's, talking about something I don't know. I'm coming from an inside perspective, and I'm truly trying to find the truth and share love in a positive way. It's not a project that bashes the church in any way, but it does pose some serious questions and cause us to grow and move forward for the future.
Yeah, man. And just because you're doing something so important with this project, let the church say, and as a filmmaker, how do you balance your vision as an artist with the practical considerations of, the budgets, timelines, distribution? You're working on a project with such important social and cultural themes. So how do you balance that?
Yeah, so I surround myself with a really awesome team. The executive producer on this film, Nancy Howard, and her brother Joe Howell, who's the producer on this project, are just incredible. They've been really helpful in the areas of filmmaking that I'm not strong at. Filmmaking it's a team sport, and it takes a team to really put these projects together. So as the writer and director, my focus is focusing on the story and making sure the vision comes to life and is properly communicated to the rest of the team. So a lot of the other stuff as far as like managing the budget and securing equipment and all that other stuff, I don't have to worry about as much. Now, as an independent filmmaker, you have to learn to wear many different hats. So I have, pretty much every film I've worked on, I've produced it as well. But I surround myself with producers that know a lot more than I do, and they really help this project come to life.
Yes, sir. Man, dope title. Man, I think if black churches have like a catchphrase or a slogan, it would definitely be "Let the Church Say."
Yeah.
Man, how did that title come to you?
Man, I don't even know. I think mainly, so this film, the inspiration for this film came back in 2020 when there was just a lot going on politically and socially, and a lot of racial upheaval. And I've always grown up in church hearing that let the church say amen. Mm-hmm. And I felt like this piece was an opportunity for the church to join the conversation, with everything that was going on with George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and all the things in social justice. I wanted to create a film that allowed the church to have a voice and really share the story of how the black church has influenced and impacted the lives of African Americans throughout history. So I kind of feel like that's where that came from. Let the church say is kind of a declaration.
Yeah, man, that is so important. But how did you go about like researching and gathering the information for this project?
Yeah, so it actually started, the first inspiration for this film came when I was actually in church. And there was this beautiful moment of a young woman who was up front, and she was singing a solo. In the middle of the song, she breaks down and she starts crying. And if you've ever attended, a Southern black church, there's just like a whole bunch of feedback from the crowd. They're just like, it's okay, everything's all right, and just like encouraging her as she's going through this emotional moment. And in that moment, I was just like, man, I love us. Like, I love Black people. I love our culture. I love the way we worship. I love the way we fellowship with one another. And that kind of got my mind running on how the Black church influences Black culture. So that kind of like set me on the research path. And, I just started kind of Googling and going on YouTube and watching and consuming as much content as possible that had to do with the Black church. I was living in Georgia at the time and found out that the first African Baptist church out in Savannah, Georgia, was the first Black church ever established. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it was established, forgive me, it might be like 1776. So essentially, it was established before America was even established as an actual country. So, and the story behind that was just like so epic. I just share this one piece. There's a story behind the idea that church, there were individuals of that congregation who had enough money to buy their own freedom, but instead chose to donate their funds to the church. And that really inspired me, because it made me recognize that these individuals considered having a place to worship more important than their own freedom. And perhaps to them that was freedom. So, I mean, just going down that path and continuing to do research, obviously with all the things that were happening in 2020, reading hundreds to what felt like almost thousands of articles, and just trying to find the story in the midst of all of this.
Absolutely, man. I could imagine all the research that went into it. That church in Savannah, is it still standing?
Yes, it is. It's
Wow.
actually, you can go and do a tour, and I think it's kind of like a museum now. I haven't been able to attend, but I have friends who have gone who said it's incredible.
Yeah, I have to check it out. The Black church has like a rich history and tradition in African American community. But to some people's surprise, I mean, you may or may not be surprised, but Black church or African American churches also have been criticized for its role in for conducting systematic oppression and discrimination, even within own ranks. How did you approach addressing these critiques in your project, and what were some of like the most surprising findings that you uncovered?
Yeah, so I tried to approach the difficult parts of the church's history just as an open book and an individual who was desiring to learn. I knew from the beginning that everything that I uncovered wouldn't be pleasant, but this film incorporates the voices from individuals who know the film the best. Know the Black church the best. So we got to sit down with, Reverend Dr. Teresa Fry Brown, scholars from, Emory University, Dr. Nicole Phillips, individuals who, when it comes to Black church studies, I mean, they're leading experts in this. So I did ask them some poignant questions just about, the church's history and things like, church hurt and, the abusement of funds and, even, things like issues with the hierarchy and respectability politics and things like that. And I tried to allow individuals to just say what it is and not try to cover anything up. I feel like this film presents a very real depiction of the church with all of its triumphs, all of its victories, but also a good portion of its flaws. And I really feel like this film is just the beginning of the conversation. I don't think we can grow as a church and as a people until we learn to deal with our mistakes and learn from them.
Absolutely. So is Let the Church Say a memorial service for Black church or a celebration for Black church?
That's a really good question. Yeah. I'm going to say it's a little bit of both. I want to say that, first of all, I invite individuals to watch the film. The film right now is available on Vudu, so the streaming platform, so you can watch it anywhere, anytime. And without giving too much away as far as the answer, I definitely feel like the film highlights the best parts of the church and celebrates those things, but also highlights some of the parts in which the church hasn't been involved, where the church has been dying, and you can do the research to see statistically how there's some areas where the church is falling short, and it's causing issues for congregants, it's causing issues for young people who are leaving the church. And so it points on both of those areas. But when we actually put a microscope on those things and we have an opportunity to work on them, I'm really excited to see what comes from this film and these projects that we're working on.
Absolutely. And man, just because we have to throw out some clickbait, I know the film, Let the Church Say, touches on this topic, and we don't have to pinpoint what the film says about it. But Black church, man, there is a decline in attendance, right? Especially since the pandemic. I guess we found out that, hey, we really don't have to go to church. We can just Zoom or a quick prayer and, keep going about our business. But I believe that, and this is just what I believe that the decline in our church, Black churches, Black members, there's a decline because of there's an attack on the family structure. And also with the younger generations, we parent different.
Mm-hmm.
Way different. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I've definitely felt that way and have seen that before. One of the individuals that I spoke with just kind of discussed how, for me personally, growing up, I was in church every weekend. That was just the standard. And all the friends that I knew growing up, they were in church as well. So it was, I'll be honest with you, the first time I met a Black person who told me they were atheists, I was like dumbfounded. Because I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that was possible, that there are individuals who are growing up, who are Black, who are in America, who don't go to church, and their parents didn't go to church. And because of that, like you said, the way children are being parented is different. For me, I didn't have a choice growing up. And now that I'm older, I do have the choice and I choose to go. But for those who haven't had that privilege, there's a different relationship with the church in this generation than it was in the previous generation.
Yeah, I totally agree. So your project includes interviews with a variety of individuals, from activists to pastors to scholars. Can you share any insights or memorable moments from these conversations that stood out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I got an opportunity to speak to Reverend Dr. Teresa Fry Brown, one of the things she mentioned to me that blew my mind was how integral the church was in establishing some of the earliest Black-owned businesses. So she mentioned banks and, business bureaus and, credit unions. These things were established earlier on in American history and were founded in the Black church mainly because Black people did not have access to these type of resources anywhere else. So if you wanted to get some employment training or learn how to type, or, maybe you wanted to get a loan so that you can purchase a house or start a business, there wasn't a lot of, white lenders or white resources or businesses that were willing to share those resources with you. And so there was a time when the church was stepping in the gap and being that the answer to the problem that, Black communities needed. And I think that's also why I'm doing this project, because I'd like to see more of that in the future, where churches are evaluating what are the actual needs of your community and then filling in the gap and being that, fulfilling that need.
Man, that's what I hope church will get to.
Yeah.
That's what I hope it'll get to. Well, till then, man, let the church say is an inside look at Black church. Hopefully we can have some conversations and study the role that Black church have in today's society.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, man, where can people connect with you and find out more about the film?
Yeah, so people can find out more about the film at letthechurch.com. It's all one word, letthechurch.com. There they can see ways to watch the film. We have a ways to watch page on the website. You can, as I mentioned, you can watch it on Vudu. That's VUDU. It's a streaming service that should be on your television if you have Roku, or you can download the app. We're also doing screenings across the country this year. I think our next stop is Birmingham, Alabama. So if you are wondering when we'll be coming to your town or your city, you can check the website as well. Sign up for our mailing list. And we are currently in the early stages of an initiative where we're trying to screen this film at 100 churches across the country. So if you want to partner with us and support us in that movement, contribute to our campaign so that we can get the funds necessarily to continue to market this film and connect with churches and organizations and church leaders who are about making change. You can find ways to support us on our website, again, which is letthechurch.com.
All right. And I will include those links in the description of this episode and in the show notes. So all you guys have to do is click the links and connect and watch. All right, man. Rafiq, thank you so much for being our special guest tonight. It was truly an honor having you here.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, man. Enjoy your night. Take care.
You too. Take care.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio Live. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the app Podcast Addict, or over at our website, which again is onlyonemediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you like to request some music or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That is V as in Victor. And here's my disclaimer: we are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, scratch all of that, because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Just kidding. On behalf of myself, Dini, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, at all social media sites, as well as Spreaker, YouTube. We always follow back. Okay, well, just remember to put yourself into everything that you do and never stop investing in yourself. Peace, love, grilled cheese, and talk with you later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.